That comic podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to That Comic Podcast. I'm your host, Minty, and with me, as always, are my wonderful sidekicks. First, Mr. Mashako.
Mashako. Accordia or whatever. Can I kick it?
Yes, you can. There you go. And
Sokovia.
Sokovia.
Yeah.
What?
It's just... And then there's P Features.
Hello, internets.
Hello.
All right. And then horror historian himself, Buzz. I got to watch how I say that. It kind of comes out not horror. I really got to work
in there.
Got to hit that pronunciation. But welcome back. It's going to be a weird show. It's going to be a weird show. I think I say that every week now, to be honest. But yeah, we got a lot of stories, but nothing that's got like a lot of meat on the bones. So yeah. What was that laugh?
Oh, 20,
I know what that was for.
Years later.
Oh, is that your segue? Got
Meat
it.
on the bone.
Got it. Oh, well, there's no rundown necessary. I will say that I did get a chance to see 28 years later before recording. I actually saw it yesterday. So I want to start with a spoiler-free-esque review with that, or as spoiler-free as I can get, because I know these knuckleheads haven't seen it, and I think only Features cares.
I did care, but
I gotta consider that. Well, let's just jump into that. Okay, so first off, did we all like the first two? Let's just
fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
I like the
Enjoyable.
second one.
Oh yeah, you never saw the first one. For some reason, it was impossible to find on streaming services or on any streaming platform to purchase. Now,
like
as far as
super
torrenting, I'm sure you can get it, but couldn't find it at all when it came to trying to watch the first movie. When they announced it, I was trying to show Features the trilogy ahead of time, but we did watch the second one, and I think the second one is a little overhated. I know it's not the first one, but I think it is better than people give it credit for.
Mm-hmm.
But the third one, 28 years later, is very bizarre. It's still a good movie. Let's just start with that. I enjoyed it a lot. There's really solid performances, but there's just some bizarre editing choices where Danny Boyle kind of feels like he's a little high on his own supply of 28 Days Later, trying to recreate it, but not keeping the same tone and feeling. So what I mean by that is the first two movies are very much upping the ante. So we get the Infected in the first movie. It's a really, really strong story, and I think it's really well done. Second story is very similar, but it really just needs to up the ante, right? So then that's when we get the whole town being in quarantine and the breaking out inside that one bunker and everybody, like really cool scenes and great moments. But it was not as much about the world or the lore. It was just the intensity, where this is all about lore, all of it. This is more about setting up a future franchise than it is about finishing this one. So it's not the end of a story as much as it is the beginning of a next story. And where normally they would focus on intensity, this is still intense, but it's so much more about world building and different type of infected, and how society kind of works within this quarantine zone as them being quarantined for 28 years and kind of just abandoned there. Essentially, the kind of, without going too detailed, is the quarantine island is no in or out. So while the rest of the world is still the rest of the world, anybody who's on that island, there's no coming in or out. If you're there, you just got to have to make it work.
Just like Mega City 1 from Judge Dredd.
Yes, very much so.
Zombies.
Wow. Very much so. The Infected are not really zombies like zombies. Think of, actually, Buzz, I love that you're here for this. Think of Romero's Land of the Dead.
Yeah.
Where they start to kind of evolve.
Yeah. So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was George's, and I actually spoke with George Romero about it. Was his whole thing was he wanted them to get back to being more intelligent. It's just he was trying to do it over a period of like 4 decades, so he wasn't really able to get to that film. But you could see it with the character Bub, where the scientist is like training him. Like that's where he was originally going to go. And I think, you know what you're saying about, what is it, 28 years later? Mm-hmm. It's an easy takeaway, like,
the vibe is
right.
all over this. As far as seeing the Infected as a different almost society, and how they kind of function and work, that there's a little bit more under the surface than you realize because of how much time has passed.
Yeah, Romero wrote a series called Toe Tags from DC that came out like mid 2010s, and it basically did that storyline where like they had like intelligent ones that were becoming like secret agents and militarized versions of them and stuff like that. Yeah, it was always Romero's plan. So that's why I kind of didn't like race out to see it, because it's kind of like I've seen this before or I know of this before. You know what I mean?
It's very Danny Boyle, but it's definitely Romero inspired, no
Yeah.
question. Definitely Land of the Dead. It felt a lot like Land of the Dead.
I love Land of the Dead. Yeah.
I don't like smart zombies. I'll just be upfront with that.
You don't like smart zombies?
I don't like the idea of smart zombies.
You
I
don't like Living Corpse?
That's a different. It's a different story. Don't you do that?
I got
to
you
me.
with it. I got it.
I can deal with one smart zombie who takes out random
Hey,
zombies.
you know what? I actually we did that as an homage to George anyway. So good.
I'm sorry, but I just didn't want to slide past the fact that you said there were secret agent zombies.
Yeah, see, no.
Yeah, they were like it was always like the military had the spill that created them to come back or whatever. You know, in Night of the Living Dead, they talk about a comet on the radio that passes by. But at the end of the day, the Return of the Living Deads and all the other zombie stuff was like, you know, what can we use the zombies for? I mean, even at the end of Walking Dead, the comic, it was like, you can't kill them now. They're entertainment. You know what I mean? So everybody's trying to do something like a little spin on it, but it's all coming out of George's stuff.
When the biggest problem with this is not smart zombies. The biggest problem is the fact that it has no 3-act structure.
Mm-hmm.
Like they introduce characters right at the end. They
Wow.
Like they.
Well, I mean, it is part 1 of 2, really. So the next one comes out in like 6 months.
It has to be, but it has the same kind of vibe that Across the Spider-Verse did, where it was just very abrupt. And it didn't feel completed. It felt like I watched the first half of something that I have to pay now to see how the story ends.
I hate that for the franchise. I see what you're trying to do, but you advertise it as a 3rd act.
Yes.
And then
exactly.
you made it in Act 1 as a surprise. There's more coming. So now that's what we want. And it'll be 28 decades later.
Well,
you know what I mean? 28 millennia.
You can also
later.
kind of see how they're playing it, like without getting too heavily in spoiler territory, like the fall of some characters and the redemption arc of others. Like some of it, you can kind of just see how they're putting it together, and a lot of it just is really on the nose of storytelling. Like somebody saying, like this person's crazy early in the story, and you know later on they're not going to be. It's just real basic kind of stuff, but it will for a couple things. It's beautifully portrayed. The sets are gorgeous. The intensity on any of the action scenes are where it needs to be. The changes in the infected are really cool. Like I love the concept of the alpha and the fat ones, and the deaths they're very much not zombies. They're still the rage infected, more I'll beat you to death than eat you kind of, you know. But seeing how they kind of evolve and they start to like band together is interesting. But the thing that I don't know how much I like this, and it works for some directors, and I don't know. He cuts others' film that's supposed to look aged into it. So like people are practicing with bow and arrows, and then he would cut to like a castle with a bunch of archers shooting bow and arrows and practicing. And I know it's supposed to have this big, meaning behind it, I'm sure. But to me, it's just jarring and takes me out of the film. I don't know. Some people might love that editing style. I'm not a big fan. I thought every time they did it, it just felt unnecessary. And the other aspect that I really just couldn't get past, it bothered me, is they did this weird freeze frame anytime an infected was killed. So, like, for example, an arrow would hit somebody, and then for like a split second, it would just freeze with the arrow going through them, and then it would go back into the shot. And
it's slowed down.
Not even slowed down, just a straight freeze frame.
Wow.
And then it would go back into it.
It wasn't Snyder slow-mo.
And no. Well, no. If anything, you know how the first one, to kind of recreate that feeling, they did that where they upped the frame rate ever so slightly so it looks a lot more chaotic and jumpy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
To try and replicate because the first movie was like, what, an $8 million budget and with pretty low. Yeah. So like they didn't have the greatest
movies
cameras.
to use the mini or digital video.
Was it?
It was one of the first movies to use digital.
So you can tell that they were very much trying to recreate that as much as they could, because the second movie didn't have that. The second had much more of a polished vibe to it, where the third definitely is trying to replicate that first feel while expanding the lore into a more of a robust franchise. Yeah. I don't know if that was a good or a bad thing. I didn't leave the theater feeling fulfilled.
Well, yeah, I mean, they didn't give you the ending that they sold you on the trailer. That's my problem with new zombie stuff, is nobody finishes anything. They just keep it going forever and ever.
And I guess
has anybody written a good ending to a zombie thing,
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Will that get filled, though, with the next one?
Right.
Yes, no, it has to because
Yeah.
the way they set it up and the way, like, there were scenes that, like, without, again, I'm trying to not get into spoiler territory, but there are scenes where
It's been out long enough.
Character motivation just dies off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole plot point of the movie just kind of feels like, wow, we could have cut that whole part out if this one character wasn't written in. And I know the character.
How many screenplay writers did it have?
That's always
one.
it's not.
There's 5 names on the screenplay. Like, that's why.
It's not bad. If I saw the full thing, I'm sure I wouldn't have any of these complaints. Like, if this was released as a 3 or 4 hour movie with both of them together, I wouldn't have these complaints. But it just, a lot of characters feel undeveloped. A lot of characters that I'm supposed to care about, I don't. A lot of, like, the story's a little bit of a mess, but it doesn't take away from how good the rest of it is. But I would say if I saw this on streaming and not in theaters, I wouldn't be upset.
Well, yeah, writers Alex Garland, he did Ex Machina, Civil War, a couple other things. The good news is you're not going to have to wait too long because January 2026 is when the next one will come out. So
cool.
less than 6 months.
I'm definitely going to check it out at some point. I just wasn't racing out to watch something,
and I'm not
kind of go nowhere.
I'm not spoiling this, but I will say everyone's seeing the Power Rangers memes, and that absolutely makes sense when you watch the movie. There is very much a Boba Fett Vespa. It's a weird out of nowhere
moves to shoot people.
Oh, I mean, legitimate in the spin moves.
Listen,
like backflips. Like,
I'm
talking
Are you
about.
telling me that aliens drop down?
No.
Because I was going to
Vinci,
say,
it's okay.
like, this
Release
is
the
Critters
Kraken.
now. You know what I mean? Like,
all right, I'm going to spoil this.
Release the Kraken.
I'm gonna spoil this. All right, spoiler alert for everybody.
Good news is it's finished in the next one, so it doesn't matter what's spoiled in this.
So feel free, skip ahead if you, this will be short. But in the beginning of the movie, there's a really sad scene about the day one of the infected breaking loose, and it's this town putting all these children in one room together as they put on the Teletubbies, like trying to hey, be calm, and then obviously all the adults die, and then the room finally breaks open, and only one kid escapes. And the kid has this. I mean, it's just like all of these movies have some kind of opening like this. So it's par for the course for what these movies normally do. But then you never see this person again. You have assumptions on who this person is, this kid that escapes, but you never see him again. And then he shows up at the last 5-10 minutes of the movie with about 6 other guys with him that are all in different colored tracksuits with different weapons. And he's like, this little kid's doing his best to shoot off there to kill a bunch of infected with a bow and arrow. And then he's like, great shot. Do you mind if we take over? And he's like, sure. And all of a sudden they do backflips off this roadblock. Oh, and then they start to kick the shit out of these zombies by doing backflips off walls and flipping over top of them and I think the point is that you're supposed to somewhat feel sympathetic for the infected because the way that they're being killed is just graphic and unnecessary. And I think the point is for you to start feeling sympathy for the infected towards the end of the movie and to see how bad people on the main line have become who've had to live with it. So it very similar to, again, Land of the Dead, who has a very similar vibe about feeling bad for the infected or the zombies who are trying to kind of rebuild their own society, but then see, the armored guys come in and mow them down. And that's where the one zombie gets all we're going to take these guys out. This has somewhat of a similar vibe, but definitely post-apocalyptic Power Rangers do show up. There's no question. There's no question there are the post-apocalyptic Power Rangers. I do want to learn more about Jimmy and his Power Rangers. You do see infected will have Jimmy shaved into them, carved into their skin. Every once in a while you'll see one hanging upside down. It'll have Jimmy carved into it. And then at the end you meet Jimmy and his Power Rangers.
So they're all Order 66 survivors.
They're all Order 66 survivors. They're not Order 66 survivors. What? They're all Jedi?
Just Jimmy?
Jimmy? What are you talking about?
I am so confused with this. The opening scene you described.
Oh, because all the kids died. Oh my God.
I'm sorry. That was terrible.
Jeez, man,
that was
dark.
terrible. Jimmy's dark. Not Jamie, right?
What's up?
Jimmy and Jamie are 2 different people.
Who's Jamie?
Craven.
Oh, no, yeah. See, the whole movie, you think it is him. And then you see a guy, a thing with Jimmy carved in it, and you're like, well, you don't really know who Jimmy is. You realize who it is because in the kid in the beginning, you see in the trailer the priest who's like, it's redemption, it's judgment day, come to me, my children, and they all eat the one priest. Well, that was the kid's dad, and he runs into his dad to see his dad. And he's like, can you, like, we gotta get out of here. And the dad's like, no, it's judgment day, buddy. You stay with me.
The names of all the tracksuit people are Jimmy.
They're all named Jimmy.
There's Jimmy Inc.,
Jimmy Gang,
Jimmy
Jimmy
Fox,
Gang.
Jimmy Jones, Jimmy
The
Snake,
J, the I, the M, the M,
Jimmy Means.
It's Jimmy.
Post-apocalyptic Rangers. Da, 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 post-apocalyptic.
Full bit.
It's Jimmy time.
Jimmy.
Oh wow!
So yeah, look, if you were really into the first two movies and this is just something that you're so excited for, it's still enough there to be excited and happy about. I just wish it would have ended instead of continued.
I'm
If
still
that
gonna
makes
check
sense.
it out. So.
It's worth checking out. Again, but to me, this is a streaming service. Like, I don't want to tell people to not go to the movies because the movie theaters need it desperately right now. But like, if I saw this on Max, I would be like, oh, I'm pretty happy I didn't go to the theater.
I'll be checking it out. Wow.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Like, if this was 28 days, even 28 weeks, I'd be like, it's a must go. But if you're expecting those two movies, you're going to get something a little different, and it's divisive in the storytelling.
Mashko, is there a title for the sequel?
Put it this way. All right.
The Bone something or Bone. Shoot, I had it.
28 decades later?
No, it's just 28 years later. The Bone. I want to say Bones Brigade, but we all know that's wrong.
Bones Chronicles.
Damn.
Well, I will say, like, the things in the trailer that you see that are like, wow, that's pretty horrific, are actually really beautiful and well done. Like
It looks
Tower
amazing.
The Tower of
really
Skulls
cool.
is really cool.
Yeah.
And how they make that make sense is really cool. Like, the story itself has a lot of great elements, and there's a lot of great characters. I just wish they were used in a way that made me love them over one movie, opposed to needing two to really feel for some of the characters. Like, for example, Craven. He's great. But you can tell the way that they're painting him, the light they're painting him in, to then have this redemptive arc, and it just feels very paint by numbers. I could be wrong. Who knows? When the movie comes out, maybe I'm left field and he's Kylo Ren at the end or something. I don't know. Maybe he goes nuts and has a temper tantrum. And
you put out a threequel, and it's actually a new movie.
But it very much is them trying to set up a franchise. So worth your time if you want to keep that story going. But if you're expecting an end, you're not going to get one. You're quite literally going to get a handshake and a to be continued.
You'll get maybe an end to that story arc. And
you're going to see the
Bone
Power
Temple.
Rangers, and then you're going to go, what the hell was that? And then credits are going to roll, and you're going to go, what the hell was the Power Rangers?
Reed will come out and start laughing at you.
There's no post-credit scene. Because I'm thinking they've got to have something more about the Power Rangers. They don't.
That's crazy.
They don't. All right, let's.
That was almost 20 minutes on that topic.
Well, hey, the rest of this, we're gonna fly through because there's not a lot of meat on them bones.
True that.
But there's enough that we need to at least mention. Like, for example, we talked heavily about Jeremy Renner and his Hawkeye 2 woes, where they weren't willing to pay him the same rate that he got for the first season. And, you know, especially after what he went through and how much time and how much effort it's going to take him to reprise that role, it's kind of wild that one of their first original 6 didn't get the same kind of love, we'll say. So when he said that he wanted to get paid for the second season the same amount, and he said, I'm not willing to do it for anything less, I don't think a lot of people blamed him for that. We had some comments on our post that says, like, you know, I'd still do it. Like, and yes, every one of us on this show would do it, no matter what that price was. But I get why. But it seems like that little backlash and the amount of it, obviously our post is what had the internet talking. But that got to Daddy Marvel's ears, and apparently they're backing talks with Renner for Hawkeye Season 2, especially with him reprising his role in Doomsday and such. I'm sure there's a bigger paycheck for all of the projects he's going to be involved in, so I bet you he takes a subdued role in Hawkeye Season 2, but they supplement that with cameos and producer credits and stuff on other projects. That's my guess.
I mean, that'd be great. I mean, he arguably had the best show on Disney Plus from the Marvel shows. Arguably.
It's top 3, no question there.
Yeah.
Top 3. But I'm
It's good that
still thinking Loki's
yeah.
going to be.
It's good that he's back because, you know, People like
Hawkeye.
him. People love
Yeah.
him. People like him. You know,
I love Hawkeye.
nobody was saying like, get rid of him. You know,
The only character to also be an Avenger and a Justice Leaguer. He deserves respect, damn it.
Twofer.
All right, yeah. I mean, not to shit on Ollie a little bit here, but let's. I don't know if you remember how that book ends with good old Black Canary. Seems like she has a type. Let's just say that.
Wow. Marksman.
Wow.
Really?
Wow, and then found her Marksman. I don't know what was worse, the camera zoom. All right, let's keep moving and let's talk about Punisher in Spider-Man. Now, this is something we've talked about for a while. Spider-Man, Brand New Day. Apparently, not apparently. I mean, it's for sure now. It's official. It's a thing. Jon Bernthal is reprising his role as the Punisher in a PG-13 story, which will be interesting all on its own. But I'm not going to lie. They should have kept this under wraps and shut the up about it. This should have been a surprise in theaters. You already have the Hulk. We were going to go. Just saying Hulk Spider-Man is enough to get me to go. If they would have all of a sudden then popped up with Jon Bernthal while we were in theaters, that theater would have went nuts.
Yes.
They ruined that moment. They could have had a Cap picking up Mjolnir moment, and they just lost it.
Yeah. They could have. Now they'll do Daredevil like that.
I don't think they.
Yeah,
would be
Spider-Man
able
will
to
show up
hide
in
it.
Daredevil. Yeah, you're right. You're right. What was that, Moshko?
I was just saying, I don't think they can hide it. You know, having him, because I mean, chances are the way they film this is going to be in the streets of New York. So it's not like a backlot. It's so hard to hide things like this anymore.
What you do? Yeah, but you're Marvel and you got a lot of money, plus you've got a costume that you can easily hide this with. You just say they're filming at the same time in similar locations,
right.
And then you put a guy dressed like Daredevil on the set.
I mean, to be fair, we're talking about hiding things and everything's leaking.
Yeah.
You know.
Why
but a lot of this is leaked on purpose. That's also
why are they putting Punisher in Spider-Man anyway? Is it the grounded thing?
Yeah,
Or is there something more to it?
I mean, obviously, it's a completely different story than what we thought it was supposed to be. So originally, we had that. I mean, we talked about this before, where the Daredevil grounded story was supposed to happen, and that got thrown away for a Null Venom crossover story. Now we have this Punisher Hulk story, which is supposed to be more grounded. I've heard some people say that Gang War is an inspiration, which is interesting because you have She-Hulk was the primary character in that, but there's also been so many rumors about there being a World War Hulk movie that you could start setting something like that up through this. But I don't know. It's definitely to keep it grounded and to give Sony what they want, which is they need to have a major character. And now they've got two. I fear that Jon Bernthal is just a way to get us excited while they film.
Well,
So is this the first time they've moved a television Marvel character into a film?
Yeah, I want to say yes.
It feels like the first time. I'm not sure if it is the first time.
Yeah.
It might be. It's hard to say.
Because
But
we've
I was
talked so
actually-
many times about how they could or should or would, and it's like, oh, the contracts and they can't and scheduling, and it's like, well, here we go. I mean, I'm cool with it. I'm just like, okay, all of a sudden we're just putting the guys from the shows in the movie. You know,
I disappeared for a second. My bad.
you did.
I don't know what happened there. All of a sudden, it just
You
said
might have heard it, but
troubleshoot.
the question is, has there been a character from the TV shows in the movies yet? And
I don't think so.
believe no.
No.
Because it's the
Punisher
other way
would be the
around.
first.
It's been from
Right.
the movies to TV
Yeah.
shows, but I'm wondering, like, I don't know if this is bait or if this is like they're just going now. They're just doing, they're just doing it. Because in my eyes, what you've done with Punisher and Jon Bernthal, and the link to Daredevil, and now you're telling us, oh, he's going to be in Spider-Man. So I can't not think that the rest of them are there too. You know what I mean? It's like,
Well, they have to be.
they have to be there as well.
They're in New York. So, but we
Right.
also don't know exactly how this movie takes place. I mean, is this before or after Doomsday? This is before Doomsday now, right?
Before, I think. I think
This
it's
is
before.
And Matt was already in the other Spider-Man movie, so it's
Oh, good point. So Matt was Daredevil was.
Yeah, he
Matt
was.
was already in. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was in.
He was in
Well,
the beginning. He's
What
the
I-
lawyer.
Far From
my
Home or
He
whatever.
snatches the brick or whatever out the window
Yeah.
or whatever's thrown in the window.
but
He's a really good lawyer.
let's be honest. They're 100% going to be doing something along the lines of that classic Punisher or Spider-Man comic with
He's hired
Spider-Man
to
in the
hunt
crosshair.
him down.
Yes, 100%. And it's
Yeah.
going to be the two of them teamed up to try and take out the Hulk, which is interesting in its own. And let's not pretend like Frank hasn't taken out the Hulk once before. I mean, he was the Sorcerer Supreme at that time. It was a book called Magic Bullets, and he just kind of shooed the Hulk away. The Hulk
Wow.
rushed at him, and he just went, no. And he just dusted the Hulk. So, and Frank kills the Marvel Universe. That's another one. Punisher kills the Marvel Universe. So it's not like he can't. I just don't know. Can you do Punisher properly in a Spider-Man movie?
So here's something that's really interesting. Besides the fact that they're putting someone from the TV shows into the films, because I think that's great if they keep doing things like that. There is a story arc out there, and I hope it doesn't lead to what I think it might to, but maybe there is one with the Punisher and Spider-Man where he's hired by the Jackal to hunt down Spider-Man, pretty much take him out. Now, they could flip that story a little bit. Like, they just hire a Punisher. That's how we get him in the film. Somehow the Jackal does some type of experiment. He's partnered with the Hulk. He becomes Savage Hulk somehow. And we also get the Jackal somehow. Because we don't really know if the Hulk is going to be the villain.
We don't know anything, dude. Mr. Negative is apparently in this movie. Boomerang is apparently in this movie. Beetle is apparently in this movie. Like, there are so many characters that have been confirmed for this. Well, confirmed for this thing.
Features that book is the one we're talking about. Well, at least the cover. So with the premise you're stating and the book that they're on the cover together is the same.
Yeah,
so.
I hope we get that shot.
It's just Punisher being like everything they established in Daredevil cannot happen in Spider-Man. Like that brutality we saw in the Punisher cannot happen in a PG-13 Spider-Man movie.
Right. It's a little alarming that he would be in the film. I like the characters together, and in fact, there's been team ups, and I remember reading them as a kid, and I believe Ghost Rider might have even been involved. But it is you're mixing it up now, so I'm curious, if it's a bit part or if it's like a segue part to get to something else.
Well, they
and
were
you
in a
can't even
movie-
go easy on him because Tom Holland's like 40 now, so it's not like he's a kid.
Well, the nice thing is the two of them have great chemistry. I mean, the two of them were reading for Spider-Man and for Punisher together on the set of the Pilgrim or the Pilgrimage or something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, honestly.
And they helped each other get their respected roles. So they already, and they both have say nothing but wonderful things about each other. So I'm going to bet right off the rip that the chemistry between those two is going to be stellar. So
yeah, they've worked together many times in the comics, and it works. They kind of the joking and stuff aside, it's all good stuff.
I don't know, man. You've done great work bringing the Punisher into the respected MCU and keeping him at a level that everybody was excited and happy about. And now you have to then pull that back in order to make him fit in PG-13, and it just kind of feels unnecessary. Like throw Daredevil in it, and then you don't have that problem,
Right?
Yeah. And we could have had the same exact thing with Daredevil.
They're going to expect that violence from him too.
No, don't question. I expect it. Don't you?
100%.
I mean, I do, but I also read books where he wasn't that violent. So to me, it's
the Archie one. Nobody wants that.
But I mean, like I've read comics where the Punishers appear in Spider-Man books, and it's he doesn't have to stab 30 people.
Doesn't have to. You're right. Have to,
but will he?
But should is a different question. Okay, this isn't a Dr. Ian Malcolm moment. They were so preoccupied on whether or not they could, they didn't think if they should.
Right, yeah. It's a bad idea, in my opinion.
Jurassic Park.
Yes, Jurassic Park. Okay. They didn't stop to think. I messed. It doesn't matter. You got my drift. All right.
Yes, I have.
Well, here I'm gonna bring up a little tidbit about what I've heard about some stuff I've heard about Spider-Man 4 leading into our next story here. But the events of Fantastic Four and the events of Spider-Man are supposed to lead directly into Doomsday and reveal a lot of what the Doom plot is. And there are some leaks that, again, take everything with a grain of salt right now, but that it has to all do with anchor beings, because anchor beings obviously is very important, as well as the incursions. And the plan of Doctor Doom, quote unquote, or rumor has it, is that he wants to make the collapse of the multiverse happen faster, similar to what the TVA and Paradox wanted. So that way he figured out a way to create his own world in which he would be in control, which is Secret Wars, 2015, Jonathan Hickman's. He figured out that in order to kill a universe, you have to kill the two anchor beings, or the anchor being. Turns out that 616 has two. And so the first anchor being was Iron Man. The second anchor being is Spider-Man. So part of his storyline is supposed to affect the new Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, that could be a post-credit scene of him showing up trying to take out Peter, or maybe he's the reason there are so many villains going after Peter, because apparently that's playing a big role, is that he's trying to get the Avengers and everybody to work with him to fight off an incursion with the X-Men. Which is, again, going into some of the leaks about Doomsday, which we can move over into that now, but that he, in Doomsday, this one I don't know how I feel about. In Doomsday, he is apparently going to have his Avengers Forever Death Star. And I don't know if you guys remember, in the more recent Avengers Forever, there is a ego-sized planet that has covered in iron and has the face of Dr. Doom. And that apparently is making an appearance in how he then traverses the multiverses through. Maybe that's Battleworld. I hope not, but maybe that's Battleworld.
That sounds so ridiculous. I want to see it.
I don't want him to have a Death Star. It's like him having the dinosaur. Like, it's too much. It's too much. And we've established ego. So theoretically, you could say this version of Doom conquered ego. And that's where he got the planet. So there are ways you could kind of try and make it work, but I hope that part of the rumor isn't true. I do like the next part of this, which goes into Secret Wars, though. So we know that Secret Wars, the 2015 Jonathan Hickman version, is the world that Dr. Doom creates is using elements of heroes. So, for example, the Earth was Ben Grimm,
Right.
The Sun was Johnny Storm, and it was the Molecule Man, who was the core of the Earth, who was that kept Battleworld alive, was Molecule Man. The rumor is that Dr. Doom sees video of Sentry, and since he has the power of 1,000 exploding suns, he wants to build a mechanism to house Sentry and to use him as a reactor to power his new world, similar to what they did with Molecule Man. I think that kind of works.
I'm okay with
that. I
that.
think you can kind of jerry-rig that into a coherent story there.
Yeah, and we don't have Molecule Man yet. And
we can't go that way.
Yeah. And Molecule Man, he's a mutant, isn't he?
Is he a mutant? I don't know if he's a mutant. Is he a mutant?
X Factor.
Is he?
Okay.
Molecule Man, if you don't know, is a guy who can control molecules. There you go. He's wildly powerful. He was also used as a bomb created by the Beyonders.
Multiple Man, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, Jamie Madrox? Yeah, definitely not him. definitely not him. But some of that sounds great, some of that sounds a little ridiculous. I mean, obviously Doom's going to have something, but if he has a Death Star, I don't know, man. That's the only one that I don't know how I feel about. But what's going on with these release dates? Because didn't some things get shifted around?
A bunch of things got moved around. So we talked about the possible fourth movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or we didn't talk about the fourth movie yet.
Mm-mm.
No.
I don't know. I'm inundated with Marvel news.
Sorry,
now.
I went on a tangent. I went on a rip.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a rumor or if this was established. I think it was established. There's a fourth movie added to the 2028 slate. I believe it's in December.
And that's after Secret Wars, right? 27 is...
Or is it before?
Well,
2028.
Yeah, 2026 is Doomsday. 2027 is Secret Wars.
Right.
Right. Now, I heard rumor. I mean, I know. Okay, go ahead and say what everyone's speculating.
Well, the speculation of the possible, the biggest one seems to be Fantastic Four 2.
Now, see, I heard another one
but also Black Panther 3.
Yeah, see, I heard another
Midnight Suns.
I still heard another one.
X-Men.
I still heard another one, and I think it's way more possible than everything you just said. And I hope it's not true.
I have a guess.
Go ahead.
I have a guess
4,
of what
5.
No.
Or 7, or whatever it is.
Nope. Go.
Features. I'm calling Doctor Strange.
Nope. Doctor Strange should happen beforehand.
It should, yeah.
Shang.
Nope. That apparently is also happening beforehand.
Captain Marvel.
Nope.
Scarlet Witch.
It's not a good answer. You're not going to go like, oh, wow, that's so exciting. The rumor is that Secret Wars is getting so outlandish that it might get split into 2 movies.
Oh, 28 years later.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I feel like the end of the movie didn't close up anything for me.
Well, that's
Well, everybody's
Infinity
doing it.
War.
Yeah.
Well, Infinity War was originally Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. Like there was no
blame
Endgame.
Harry Potter for this shit.
Yes.
It started there.
Yes, no, it's Deathly Hallows, and then Mockingjay followed it up, and then The
Yes.
Hobbit. The Hobbit was the most atrocious of them all. But anyway, different story, different time. We don't need to talk about that. But yeah, that's everything I
Damn
got for the
Slytherins.
MCU. There's still some pretty crazy stuff. I'm Ravenclaw all day, baby. Come on.
I don't even know what that means.
Slytherin's one of the houses. Yeah, I'm House Ravenclaw.
Wow. I was Gryffindor.
That makes sense. Although you're a Hufflepuff, more I
I'm
think
too
about
old
it.
for Harry Potter.
No one's too old for Harry Potter. Actually, it is. No one's too old for
totally
Harry Potter,
true.
but I'm not a big Harry Potter.
The guys who are a little more north of 45 are saying, no Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's okay. You guys
Well-
can have it. You can have all the Harry Potter you want.
No, I get yelled at every single time I say this, but I think I love the world of Harry Potter, but I hate the character.
It's all a rip off of the
That's
Books
fair.
of Magic by Neil Gaiman anyway.
or Star Wars.
It's true. Look it up.
yeah.
Neil Gaiman, Vertigo.
So Harry Potter is a character that if there was like a parent teacher conference, I would definitely, and if I was like a parent of one of the students at Hogwarts, I would I'd be a Karen real quick. Like, get this kid expelled. My son was almost eaten by a snake. There was a troll. A dragon was loose. Like, no. And it's all the same kid. Like, how are we not dealing with this?
Well,
Secret Wars 2. What's that?
See, what do you think I got? I brought up Secret Wars 2, and we all just moved
We
on.
went down Harry Potter. So HBO Max has a new series coming out.
Harry Potter?
Harry Potter.
Is there any
No, they
magic to it?
do.
No, there is, and I'm not too stoked for it. I don't really care.
I
I feel
won't watch
bad
it.
for those children. There's no way in the world that's going to go well for them at first. I think people will appreciate them by the end, but I feel like I'm nervous that they're going to get what was that kid's name from Game of Thrones?
Joffrey.
Joffrey.
Joffrey?
They're going to get Joffrey.
He's in something coming up. I
Is
just
he
heard.
really? That's exciting because he quit acting for the longest time because he kind of
Yeah.
got bullied.
Damn.
I believe it.
People
I
hated
looked
him.
that up.
He was
I
so
hated
good
him.
that people hated him.
Sounds like what William Zabka went through with Karate Kid. Everybody hated Johnny Lawrence.
So when you type in Joffrey, you get who was the butler on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
The only Joffrey that matters. All right, let's move on. Let's go ahead and let's move to the DCU for a little bit here. So it's weird not saying the E anymore. It's going to take me a little bit to get used to.
I prefer it without the E.
Prefer, but I'm used to the E.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Clayface because
Ooh.
this sounds very intriguing.
I love everything Mike Flanagan does.
Well, there was an
Great.
interview with James Gunn where he was talking about this project, and essentially he was saying that this was never an idea that they had, nor that they had any interest in doing until they were pitched an amazing body horror. That they said that James Gunn was like, it took me back to my horror days. That if I was a horror director, I would drool or chomp at the bit to be able to do this movie. So the fact that I can do it in our world is even better. So that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I body horror DCU property all day.
Let me tell you something, man.
Clayface?
Mike
Yes.
Flanagan's material is some of the best horror stuff that's out there right now, in my opinion. So it's just a perfect.
What else? What
like-
else has he done?
Oh, was it Midnight Mass and Fall of the House of Usher? And he's
Oh.
doing Carrie right now for Stephen King. Flanagan rules, man.
Wow.
Del Toro approved. Like, everybody wants to work with him. Check out some of his stuff. Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see how this world takes shape. I mean, Superman right around the corner, and then hearing this.
I bet you Clayface is as good as the
Penguin?
way that we like the Penguin. We'll like this Clayface the same intensity.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it's an intense, horrific body horror.
Sure.
All
good.
day.
Awesome.
It
Hopefully it's
kind
not
of
like,
should be.
The substance for dudes.
Yeah.
Want your nightly mud mask? Think again. Exfoliate to nothing.
Rub it in.
Oh wow.
Oh, man.
Well, you know, it's funny seeing James Gunn now feel like he's fully comfortable with being the head of DC. The way he kind of talks now. You know,
Yeah,
like
he-
he's been open and pretty transparent about things, but the way he's now talking about Marvel and stuff, he feels more like a studio head than a director, if that makes sense.
He's a big time guy now.
And the way that he has no problem just saying certain things. Like, I love what he was talking about, how he was like, look, Bob Jessup screwed over Marvel with Disney Plus. Just saying.
Wow.
Yeah. He's not wrong. I mean, Bob Jessup is the reason that, the MCU was pushed to put out as much content as humanly possible because they wanted Disney Plus to be a success. And while it might be now, it definitely wasn't at the time, and they were not prepared for it, which is why good old Kevin Feige wasn't a part of so many projects because he was pulled too thin.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a shot he's taking at anybody. I think it's just like you see the bickering online about all this material, and it's like somebody just needs to come clear and tell you how it is so that you can move on from it and keep going, because Gunn is obviously more about creating than he is about tearing the system down.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's trying to. I think he's trying to out-create the system and create so far ahead of the system that you're not ready for what he's going to do. And then when you're so wildly entertained by it, he's already on to something else. And that's how a great artist works.
I think we're in an interesting spot with him because of the change in him. You can see the change in the way the projects are being treated and the way that he's talking about things. Like, I like hearing about. I mean, well, here let's move on to our next story with Matt Reeves. I love people have been saying, oh, they're pretty upset about the fact that we haven't had the Batman 2 and that how much time has passed. And James Gunn has come out with tweets saying that he's just slow, like, give him a break. The movie's still happening. Remember, we heard rumors that it was scrapped. And anyway, he recently said, when talking about this, he said, listen, we're supposed to get a script in June. I hope that happens. We feel really good about it. People should get off Matt's nuts because it's like, let the guy write the screenplay in the amount of time that he needs to write it. That's just the way he is. He doesn't owe you something because you like his movie. I mean, you like his movie because of Matt. So let Matt do the things the way he does them.
Yeah, he's just being honest because Gunn is starting off his career as a fan.
Yes.
A fan of the material, a fan of film, starting with Trauma. Building the fan base, every project being creative. So it's almost like the way Rob Zombie talks to people. He just talks to you exactly how it is.
There's also this
no point in sugarcoating the truth.
Yes.
Everything is difficult. Even at the highest levels. The most biggest filmmakers have trouble getting stuff approved.
Have you noticed that the online, since you brought this up earlier, the online discussion about Marvel versus DC seems to have changed and it's just DC versus DC now?
Wow.
Yeah,
it's
infighting, right?
Right. It has nothing to do with I prefer this company over that company. It's I prefer this director's vision over your director's vision.
It's minutia because you can't pit the two against each other because everything is so divided in each section that it's like, is it just good or is it just bad? No one knows what a hit is until it comes out. And then when they see that it's a hit, now everyone's like, oh yeah, I always thought it was going to be great.
Well, and there's also no fighting between any of the people involved. It's just amongst people who appreciate one vision over the other. It's like the people involved are like, I hope he does well. I really think it would have been great to finish it, but I can. I'm really excited to see what he has to do. And it's like, why does everybody else have to fight about this? I don't get it.
Like there is an addiction to the drip feed on the info, and the entertainment. So it's rather than letting your creators cook and patiently waiting every day, it's like, well, what are you saying?
To be fair, we're part of that problem.
We're the solution. You know what I mean?
There it is. That's the spin I like.
Between your Bluetooth printer, you know what I mean?
We talk about how both sides are nuts.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very, very true. All right, let's move over to some comic news before we get into our comic reviews, because we do have a bunch of we have a couple announced books, but we also got a slew of cancellations, and we found this out because Lance shared it, and because Daredevil got scrapped. And after he turned into a Ghostbuster, I mean. Yeah.
It was a terrible script.
Damn lines, man, it'll get you every time.
Which is a shame because it was so good leading up to that. Like I would be mad if I was the the creative team right before it. And then all of a sudden it's canceled the moment I get off of it. It's like, hi, maybe I could have given a couple more issues.
First 12 books were really good.
So good.
Really good. When they started doing the whole 7 Deadly Sins
phenomenal
thing, it just went, oh.
No, I like the 7 Deadly Sins. I liked all the way up at I loved Wrath. The Wolverine book.
Yeah.
The She-Hulk
Yeah.
one was a little weird, but the Wolverine book was amazing.
Yeah.
There were some really great moments.
So he
to
put
that.
the armor on. So
Yeah,
really,
it was
the
the
last
armor.
book screwed
I hate
everything.
that stupid
Curse.
armor.
It's a curse.
I hate that
crazy.
armor.
Well, so all right, a question for you for the books that were canceled or
Well, let's go through the list real quick and then get to
Okay.
the question. So the first, so let's go through the books. Iron Man canceled at number 10. X Factor canceled at number 10. X Force
Yep.
canceled at number 10. Psylocke
Yep.
canceled at number 10. West Coast Avengers canceled at number 10. New Champions canceled at 8, which I'm amazed that got to 8. That was the book of all the new sidekicks, right? That was the new.
oh yeah
I'm surprised I'm surprised it made it to 8 because I
roller
didn't hear
skating-
anyone talk about that.
Ghost Rider.
Werewolf by Night canceled by 10. Spider Boy canceled at 20. But we got Spider Girl now, and that's really a continuation of that story. So, the Spectacular Spider Man that's canceled. Deadpool is canceled at 15. Weapon X Men, excuse me, canceled at 5, and then Daredevil canceled at 25.
There's only one book on that list that I made it past 2-3 issues.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
No, I'm the same way.
Actually, Iron Man, I might have made it 5, but
I
Iron
think
Man,
I
I
got
got
5
2.
issues of Iron Man, but I didn't even read them. They're just sitting in my to read pile.
It wasn't
Yeah.
bad. I didn't enjoy
now
it.
you don't have to.
Yeah, no, I'm good. And honestly, there's so many good books coming out right now. I'm struggling to keep up. My read pile is getting tipsy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get a new
Is-
Punisher in September, so that's a good trade-off. I'll take that.
Oh, and the new
Daredevil
Cap's
for
coming
Punisher.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is 10 the magic number, you guys think?
Well, I think 10 is probably where they start to
I
think
think our
about
industry insider should let us know what this or how this works out. Here's our comic author correspondent.
Now over to Buzz.
6 issues. You can
6.
tell that's your
6?
max. 6 to 12 is like how
Okay.
you do it. Watchmen was 12 issues. Everything is usually 6.
So when you
Uh,
pitch or when you're offered, is it usually like we'll give you 6 issues, or
If
we'll
it's
just-
not a one shot, like a one and done or an annual, it's going to
Mhm.
be 3, 4, 6, 8, or 12. That's
Oh, wow.
usually how they do them. But it's got to be good, like the Thor that Donnie Cates wrote that Nick Klein drew, and like
Oh, I
Mjolnir
loved it. That was-
split. That ran 12 solid, and then it started getting like dicey.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. You're
Yeah.
right. After about 12, it starts to.
Yeah,
Feel
like
a
I'm
little-
reading Hawk, and I think they're on issue 25, and they're going strong, but it's like a long story to tell. It's not something that like is, you have a cliffhanger every time, but you can see that it's building like, the universe for this dark world that Hawk's in currently. So you need 20 some issues to get to that dark mythology and all these characters. But I think if you don't start off strong, 6 is like where you're at, your max.
It's a good round number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happens is you'll see right around 6, 7, 8, 9, the artist that they attach to the project in the beginning, it falls off probably from deadlines because it takes forever to draw a comic book. They have somebody like work on issue 8 while you're trying to catch up to 6 so that like they kind of save you the time ahead of time. And then you have like a guest artist. And then, usually the writer will stay attached because he doesn't work on the book full time. The artist is on the book full time every day of his life. The writer is on the book for 2 weeks and then he's done. He writes the whole thing,
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I think you have to have a really good, strong concept. Like Jason Aaron's stuff typically does better because he's coming in with like bigger concept stuff, more rounded out, like what he wants to do with the universe. But it's a lot of characters to keep going, for everyone's book to keep
What was
coming
it?
out.
Is it still the 10? Was it 10,000? It has to sell more than 10,000 copies, or it's close to getting the axe. Like that's the number.
Yeah, that's probably it. I've never sold more than 2,500 of anything. So I had heard as an independent that if you don't sell at least 10, then like they'll just think you don't count or you're not really that good.
I learned that with Moon Knight because this was a while back. This was during the Fireside days. Mauer and I were
Yeah.
going back and forth over Moon Knight because it's constantly on the verge of being canceled. Like its
Yeah.
readership isn't big enough to
Mhm.
sustain it long term because if it tapers off even a little bit, that's the end of Moon Knight books.
From what I understand, like I'm kind of not. I don't work for Marvel or DC, but from what I understand, what I hear is that kind of in the editorial ranks, there's a lot of shifting of job positions like throughout. Books could be coming out and like all of a sudden someone's not like in charge of that book anymore. They're on something else now. And so I've also heard, from a lot of American guys who are, phenomenal comic artists that have broke into Marvel from lots of hustle that, they've been told, like, if you can't finish something on time, like, they'll just have somebody else finish it. They don't really, like... There's been a bunch of times where Scott Snyder's had to go to bat for Capullo to keep him on. Because, yeah, because, dude, like your publisher is a whole nother something. The writer and the art team involved is doing all the work, you know, and depending on who your editorial team is, you know, they're the people behind the scenes, behind the curtains of it all. They could be people who, you know, might not care who's working on the book. They might just be like, nope, it's got to be done. I mean, if you look at a lot of covers, man, like I always look at how many names are listed on the cover. You know what I mean? Like right now on Hawk, it's probably 4. It's been like the same consistent team. But if you look at anything else, like a Spider Boy or like a something else, or like, you know, even sometimes like the old Ninja Turtles before the new series, it's like 7 names on the cover. And it's because it's like they want books to come out constantly.
Yeah, and you can feel it too. I mean, and that's when these cancellations happen. It's not like I don't feel all that bad because like I gave you the 10.
Yeah. It's pretty normal. It's pretty normal for, you know, Walking Dead. I don't know how many issues it went to, but it was in like the 150s or 180s or whatever.
The dumbest. 197. It ended at 197. You were 3 issues shy, and you were like, and he goes, "No, that was always the plan." Oh shit!
Right.
There's no way the plan was to end at 197.
He didn't even have a plan, man.
That's not.
He got lucky. You know what I mean?
I just think you were having a fallout with AMC. That's all I think was.
That's
happening.
all. Oh, there was a takeover from him. You know what I mean? That's why he went all in Invincible.
197. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but like I just read Spawn 365, and it's like, what? 365 issues, man. We're still arguing about hell.
All right, well, let me get through these last couple of books and then move over to our reviews. So some of these are kind of exciting, some of these are bizarre, but the first one is Spider-Man 94, the original show, the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon that we grew up on that ended with a cliffhanger with Madam Web and Mary Jane and trying to like reconnect those characters as they were doing their kind of Spider-Verse story. That ended and we never really got to see where that went. And then we saw in X-Men 97 that they pop up in that one quick cameo that they're together, and we never found out how that was possible. So now we're getting a 4-issue book that's supposed to be talking about that cliffhanger and how that's supposed to resolve itself. Although interesting enough, the guy who wrote the original the original episodes of the show has nothing to do with it. And he's flat out said that these are not my creative decisions, and this is not my vision of how I think the episode should have ended and where I was hoping to take it. So it's kind of a weird one. I don't know how to feel about this because I always hate these kind of stories where the original artist or creator is not as, but he also wasn't the original writer. He was just on that those slew of episodes.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So it is his still very much, but we're talking about an animated series that went on for quite a while. Like other people are going to take over at some point. So them continuing the story this way, I'm excited to see how this ends. I know Huey's very excited to see how this ends because this has been.
I think it looks cool. I love
cliffhanger.
The cover.
They did a good job of like
Covers look
recreating
good. I like a poppy Spider-Man, a fun poppy Spider-Man, animated looking. I love that stuff.
It does, and they nailed the look of the animated show. I'm sorry, Mashko. We'll end soon. we'll end soon. Stupid
go
cartoons.
Build some Legos.
The idea of hating cartoons but building Legos
is crazy.
So let's move over to our next DC.
Side note. Sorry, this is a Moshko minute.
Okay.
The Pharrell Williams bio Lego movie
Oh, was it good?
got like killed in reviews. It is so good. It is so good.
That's so funny.
I don't care what anybody says. Watch that. It's on Netflix right now. Hour and a half. You'll enjoy it. And that's your Moshko minute.
There it is.
30 seconds.
There it is. You can take another 30. You deserve it. Here, we'll all just sit quietly.
Fast and Furious. New Legos are coming out.
All right. Well, moving on to the last book here, it's just like we have with the DC Marvel crossover where they're doing Batman Daredevil, or excuse me, Batman Deadpool, Deadpool Batman. Now we're getting Daredevil Green Arrow and Green Arrow Daredevil. Similar situation, but the Daredevil book is being written by Kevin Smith. That's kind
Yeah,
of cool.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm excited to see how he
He's
handles
back
that.
in the comics again.
Yeah.
Well, he did Daredevil at one point,
Yes.
and he did Green Arrow at one
Yes.
He
point.
did both of them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And he just recently wrote a story for Spider-Man. So I do, I like that he's back in the fold a little bit more. So that's exciting. And we also got a little bit more information about some of the other crossovers that they're planning on doing. Some sound pretty exciting. Some, but we also have Captain America and Wonder Woman coming out. And then we have
Interesting.
Jeff the Land Shark
what's that about?
and Crypto.
that was okay. I know Marvel Rivals has like really taken off out of this world. Where prior to that, where was like
Infinity Comics. You're talking about Jeff the Shark? Infinity Comics.
Yes.
The online digital comics is where he made. He showed up in a
Where's
bunch of people's books. He was in a lot of Deadpool books for a while.
ah,
That makes
Jeff the
sense.
Land Shark.
Yeah.
all right.
And he's just, how do you not like him? Like, look, the
Well.
idea of SNL's Land Shark, but turned into a pet, is phenomenal and great. There's Candygram. There's no issues with that concept whatsoever. Land Shark,
Candygram, man.
Candygram. Are you that stupid shark that's coming out and beat people? No, ma'am. Telegram. So anyway, Jeff the Land Shark deserves his place in Land Shark lore. He is the child of SNL and greatness. Anyway, let's move over to the comic reviews, and I have to start with G.I. Joe. And the reason I have to start with G.I. Joe is I need to ask Moshko who the hell was at the end of that book.
It's Major Blood.
No, the Reaper,
Major
dude. With
blood.
Reaper. Oh, Raptor.
yeah,
Raptor?
who the hell was Bird Wolverine?
Yeah,
Wolverine.
Dude,
I
that
forget
was
where
Bird-
he
Hold on.
totally originated from, but I know they came out with an action figure not too long ago in the classified
This
line. That's
dude
pretty
is-
fantastic.
Straight up Bird Wolverine.
Bird Wolverine.
He is Bird Wolverine. Dude, tell me he's not.
I mean,
Can you see him?
Oh wow, yeah, that's
well,
definitely.
he doesn't have his wings all spread
Oh
out.
yeah,
there.
I used to have that dude.
Yeah,
Bird Wolverine.
that's right. He was from the absolute original.
bird.
Yeah.
It started getting weird with those characters, late '90s, like mid '90s. Started getting weird with the tiger stripe camos.
This was
Yeah.
not great. It's not
No.
bad. It's not bad. It's not
You
bad.
didn't like the buddy team up of Baroness and CoverGirl?
Until the stupid bird showed up.
Well, you have to have some
All of a sudden, it
conflict.
became Hitchcock's Bird, but not good. Like,
It's like a ripoff of the Battlestar Galactica dude.
So
I didn't.
I'll send you the picture.
Yeah, please do. 'Cause I don't get
So-
that reference.
so those claws were his talons, I'm assuming.
I guess.
Yes.
I guess the whole issue is great. I love the whole CoverGirl Baroness buddy story. I really like the I just need a break kind of thing, and then
You're still waiting on Scarlet.
I really am. Although CoverGirl kind of won me over a little bit in this one because I
yeah,
liked her.
she-
I liked her attitude in this one. I
Yeah.
was like when she was like your private jet's cute. I was like, oh, there you go.
Give
There you go.
me
No,
snake eyes, I will come back.
it's still good. I just they keep doing this thing where they introduce somebody at the end like I'm supposed to know what the hell's going on, and I'm like, who the hell?
There's like 200 plus characters that they can pull from, so we
Well,
got
it's
a
still
lot
good.
of time with this.
Still a good read.
Birderines of presence of
Let's move over to a finale, which I wasn't
Finale.
ready to be a finale. It was not ready for the book to end, but let's move over to
I thought you say Ultimates.
no, Aliens and Avengers.
Yeah.
How was
Aliens
that,
and
man?
Avengers.
I fell off, but I was really liking that.
I think I believe it nailed the ending.
I will say that's the best Aliens versus book.
I mean, well, hold on. Since a couple haven't finished, you guys are spoiler alert. We are.
Yeah, go ahead.
all
Go
right.
ahead. I'll catch it another time.
Because I will say
Spoiler
the
alert.
Venom reveal was by far
Yes.
my favorite.
Was there a Venom?
wait,
a Venom
Yo,
xenomorph?
well, remember the when Miles gets attacked, and then it turns out he's wearing Venom,
Yeah.
and then Venom covers the face hugger
the
and
white
creates
suit.
that new suit. Well, the face hugger and Venom kind of bond, and Venom is able to essentially become his own xenomorph.
Of course.
So he can reshift himself into a xenomorph. So he's just hanging out with Miles like they're just, buddy cops. But what was great about that moment is they nailed this Sinister storyline and how
Yes.
Sinister was involved. Like Sinister seeing them as the perfect organism and wanting to then breed. Like he became the David of the Prometheus stories, where he wanted to then create a new version of the Xenomorphs, and he creates a sinister version. But what you learn is that he splices it with all the other mutants' DNA, so it's able to
teleporting and whatnot.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Venom Xenomorph, by the way. You guys can see.
Probably even crazy. I love the Venom Xenomorph.
Yeah, he's really, really cool. It is their last hurrah, and they're fighting their alpha sinister Xenomorph. And
he's like the new queen or something.
It's really, really great. If they did a good job, they nailed the ending. Hickman, again, when you give him other IPs, man. Although we saw Wind Show back up, I'm happy to see that Gods actually has some lasting power, and that book wasn't just like a waste of, of just a trippy read.
It was a cool read. What I read of it,
it's trippy.
I was hooked. I like the future version of it, all the older versions of the characters.
I loved Win, but not enough of that world was flushed out. But it really was worth your time. Avengers vs. Aliens. Definitely pick up the trade if you haven't read it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Absolute Flash, also really good, really good. Don't like the way that they're speed running it a little bit. Yes, pun intended.
It's on brand.
Yeah, they're just. It's so the big twist here at the end of this issue is what we find out that what Barry was working on wasn't the only thing that facility was working on, and we see a bunch of other people broke out of their containment units, and we see some names attached to most of them. So we've got Project Heatwave. So we're gonna have their absolute version of Heatwave. We have Project Wizard, so that I'm sure will be Weather Wizard. Mm-hmm. And then what was the other one? Project. The one that would maybe the most mad. Project Firestorm.
Oh yeah.
Now the reason why that makes me mad is because they're tracking him through Grodd, and Grodd is trying to keep saying we have to stop the hot. He's like hot. We have to stop the hot, and they're not sure what that means. Well, then you see Heatwave at the end.
It's hot.
Which is a radical different Heatwave. So if that's what they're doing, then what is Firestorm going to look like? How is Firestorm going to work? And I actually liked Firestorm because of the Flash show. Like, I never really gave Firestorm a chance, but I really liked Firestorm from not just Flash, but also from Legends of Tomorrow. So
Firestorm's a cool character.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do want to see how they handle him, and I'm sure he'll stay a good guy. It's just, for anybody unaware, Firestorm is a character who merges. It's a scientist and a football player who merge together to create Firestorm, and he can manipulate molecules, so he can essentially transmute matter into whatever he wants. During the Doomsday book, there's a crazy moment where they think the U.S. government is like sending heroes to other countries, and he kind of loses control of his powers for a second at this protest, and he just freaks out, and a flash happens, and everyone turns to glass around him. So he's wildly powerful. Very, very cool character. Yeah. I'm a little nervous on how they're treating him in this book, but in general, Absolute Flash is still very much a win. Worth your time.
For a little bit.
For a little bit?
Yeah, because I wish they would add more into the stories. I think that's my only complaint about it, is that they just really go by so quickly.
Well, because they don't. Yeah, it's because it's. I don't know. It is a slow burn. There's a lot happening, but the story doesn't feel like it's progressing much.
That's why they need fire.
Well, let's talk about one that I know everyone's gonna love. Let's go back to our Invincible universe, and they're trying to
I changed my tune.
Woo, Battle Beast.
I didn't care for the first one. Second one,
I loved the first one.
The first one was awesome.
And this number 2 was just as good.
Yeah.
I'm in.
And this, I'm glad you said you're in, Mosh, because I assumed you would like this book. So when you said you didn't like the first one, it threw me off, because I was like, this is a very simple plot. It doesn't take much, but it's exciting to read, because that's all this character wants. He's like, well, take me to the nearest fight.
Well, and
I think that was the problem, because I was expecting one thing and I got something completely different. So it took a book for me to get into that world.
Since
I haven't visited it in a while. So
the dynamic between the ship and Battle Beast is the best part of the book. I absolutely love. And what a clever way to broaden the story on a loner character like this, but still have him still have a really good, coherent way to have him travel around the Invincible universe and expanding things, introducing new races of characters, new planets. I mean, this book can very much shape the interstellar side of Invincible even further than we have with the Viltrumites and Alan the Alien and all that stuff. So it not only does it do great for the brand and the franchise of Invincible, but what Features is saying, the simplistic storytelling works with the hyper violence of it, because you know what you're getting. There's no twist. There's like the twist is the computer tried to kill him again. You know what I mean? Like,
what is it? Said what is it? What is it? It was like taking so long to get somewhere else. This computer was like, yeah, that was my backup plan. Just wanted to starve you to death, but I hate you. And he's like, you know what? Your plan sucks, and it's not really going to work. So just take me to the nearest fight. Let's just do it that way. When
all the ships show up at the end. And the ship's like, who let them know? How did they find us? Oh, no. I really like... I don't care about the guy in the suit. Don't care about that. And honestly, the whole side mission of it, I didn't care about until the blood battle thing. The blood battle championship thing, which I love that they mention it. This is how fast-paced the story is. Going with what Features was saying, just to prove a point here. They go, did you say blood games at the bottom, right? And then we switch to the next page, and this dude is armored up. He's in the fight. He's ready to go.
That's how you tell a story.
Crashing everybody.
Think about Thor Ragnarok. And when we found out that Thor was going to be in those games, and there was at least 30 minutes of footage that happened with him getting a haircut and him with the sparkle fingers. And don't get me wrong, those were all great scenes. But just imagine if they were like, and we're going to put you in a Coliseum, and then he's fighting the Hulk. Ooh, 15 seconds transition. Like there's just, and now you're going to be in the games. This book is so wildly fast paced. He kills 8-9 people in a page.
Right. Gory stuff.
It's so good.
In half too, down the middle.
Yeah, some people got lucky, man. Some of them did get killed. Yeah. Some of the other ones,
like I'm out.
It was a great issue, though. It's a book that I've now become very, very excited for each week.
It's interesting. I was reading a little excerpt there from Otley at the end, and he was talking about how he'd been really wanting to work with Robert again, really wanting to get back into the Invincible universe, and it just makes sense to me as a comic creator, like. He's a phenomenal creator, and he got in with Marvel and was doing Hulk and Spider-Man, all the fun stuff, right? What'd he do? Went right back to his original stuff. That's where your home is. You know what I mean? With the stuff that you create, it's cool to see these guys together again, and that's why it's so good.
Yeah. No, who understands the character better?
Yeah.
All right, let's move over to Ultimates issue 13. I'm amazed that I'm still in the Ultimates book, and the Ultimate book does a weird job of making me go, nah, this is my last issue. And then the next one goes, no, that was great. I'm going to buy another one. And then, nah, that's my last issue. And then, this was a great one. This was a great one. Last one wasn't as good. This one was pretty good. I like this one is the Ultimates 3.0, and Tony, I had to die in order to see the goal, because it's still very much the Maker and his team of destroying reputations in order to keep them, to keep all the people subjugated to him, and how they're now using the internet and branding almost as a way to circumvent all of those plans to keep them evil in the public eye.
Yeah.
So the way that they have, like, in the big twist of, there's like a million, spoiler alert, by the way, there's like 7 or 8 different Tony Starks that he somehow replicated himself in time, and he's able to be in all these places at once. Because you see him involved in all of these things. Like he's meeting, because he's like, there's all these people that call them terrorists and stuff, that the Ultimates are terrorists, and then he meets a bunch of them. And the only one that I thought was weird is, actually I'm going to open up to the page, is that during all the flash of showing like that Luke Cage is helping a lot of the new heroes and the people that could become something more, and that they're not going to hold on to the vials anymore and try and find the right person for the vial. They're just going to give the vial to a person they believe should get it and stop trying to recreate the past. So that's essentially what the book is that they're not going to try and find Peter Parker to give him the Spider-Man power. They're going to find a guy who deserves Spider-Man powers, because, like, look at Hank, and Hank is not prepared to be Ant-Man / Giant Man. he's
Right.
having night terrors and stuff. Like, they maybe not give him his powers. But I like the way that they involve Luke Cage is really cool. But going back to this, he makes an app that kids can download. And in it, he starts teaching people how to make Molotov cocktails. And I don't understand that one at all. Where he's like, all right, this is how you make a Molotov cocktail. And I'm like,
in an Iron Man suit.
maybe not.
Show me how to make a repulsor.
For you.
Yeah, maybe that's not the best thing to teach people. Like, I understand that we're talking revolution in this book and stuff, and I understand that, but to teach just anybody who can download that app sounds wildly irresponsible for Iron Man.
It does, but considering the world that they're trying to take back, I kind of get it because they need the people. They don't have it. There aren't enough heroes.
All I'm saying, there better be an age restriction on that app. That's all I'm saying. Like, if the 6-year-old's going, can I get that whiskey?
But you know the other thing I feel like I see happening. I think Iron Man is going to become Kang in the Ultimates. It just looks.
Well, we kind of maybe, I don't know. Maybe, and him replicating himself. Like, I can kind of see what you're saying, but I don't. Maybe not.
And the Immortus machine is a part of him. So
then who becomes Iron Man? Just some random person? Because they're not going to not have Iron Man. So no, I don't think that's going to happen. And the more I think about that, maybe not.
No, okay.
No, it's an idea, and if you're right, hey, I will. I'll eat Ultimates 12. I'll rip a page out of it and I'll go ahead and chew on it for you. All right, so let's move over to you remember this, Moshko, clip it. Let's go over to the last book because I'm going to just talk about this quickly because you guys are not going to care. But Crypto, the Last Dog of Krypton, was so fun. It was such a fun book. It's very similar to the Pizza Dog book from David Aja's Hawkeye, where it's told in that dog's perspective and he can't understand what anybody's saying. This has something similar where you follow Crypto, but in the background you hear about Jor-El talking about how the planet's going to explode and that no one will listen to them and that they're testing out their rockets. And they're trying to build a rocket that's able to save hundreds of people, but they're not quite sure how to get it out of the gravity field. So they decide because they're running out of time, they decide to use Crypto as their first test subject. So they put Crypto in a rocket, and they send him up to low orbit, hoping that nothing happens. And then, of course, a black hole shows up because the story has to go somewhere, and it pulls him into the past.
Black hole.
And it pulls him to Earth. And what's bizarre about it is it looks like Crypto, if you can see, spoiler alert, was owned by Lex first on Earth.
Wow.
So he becomes Lex Luthor's childhood dog.
Interesting.
So that was a really cool twist. At first I was like, I'm going to read the first one just because I love Crypto. I'm probably not going to read a lot of this book. That was a good twist, and I will definitely get number 2 now.
Interesting.
And then the last little bit of Crypto news, just because I feel like we need to bring this up for Mike. I want to talk about Adventure Comics 210 that a lot of the comic shops you may or may not have been seeing that's being sold very cheaply, if not given out for free. That is to promote the new Superman movie. But the reason why it's a little controversial, especially with the shop owners, is the first page on the book that you get has this, and where you can see it says, sorry, you didn't win, right? What it's saying that you could win is a 30-day subscription to the DC Universe app, where you can download all the comics that you want, instead of, supporting your local comic shop and buying that month's worth of physical books. So shop owners have a weird feeling about this book because it incentivizes people to not shop with them for a while.
Yeah.
Is it a scratch off or do you?
No, you just open the cover. It's
So
sealed. The bag is sealed.
Oh, it's bagged.
Yeah, this is.
Okay.
So they gave me this one.
Gotcha. Because if it wasn't, then they could easily just go through all of them and
Well,
cherry pick.
Everyone's trying to do that with. Speaking of Battle Beast, people were trying to do that with that Battle Beast 1 in 100 cover one. Which I didn't care about any of the cover stuff, but I did care that they had advanced issues of issue 2 in that.
Oh, and
a lot of people already read this issue.
Huh.
Yeah.
We just didn't.
It came out early.
Wow.
Bam.
Yeah, there was some cool stuff in there. All right, that's it. Everything for me. Some craziness in the shops. I thought a lot of pretty good books this week. But what else? I know you got some stuff, and I know.
Yeah. I have 2 more that you didn't mention. I have I Heart Skull Crusher, which
Well, I was never going to mention that. I mean, no
stories-
offense. I'm sure it was good, but
No, it is
Is this
good.
issue
And the
9
story.
now?
This is issue, yeah, but just issue 9.
And it's been out for what, 3 years now?
3 glorious years.
Wow,
Takes a while.
Yeah, yeah.
I was right about that.
Listen, the story's shaping up. The games are over. Skull Crusher, who is the lead character's like idol, they're partnered up on his team now. A lot of things have happened. The original team kind of fell apart due to the games. Now they fought the last. They fight the last match, and it turns
Moshko's
out
millennial zoom over here.
Yeah.
I love it. Keep it going, buddy. Don't stop. You've never heard that?
The millennials.
The millennial zoom.
I have not
It's what
heard
you're
that
doing.
before.
It's called the millennial zoom. Because Gen Z doesn't do the zoom. They do what you just did. They do this the jump cut. I don't know why I'm talking for them.
All right. Sorry.
But no, you're
Skull
fine.
Crusher.
The battles are over, and now they're actually trying to fight the head person that was in charge of all the games. And one of the members of her team actually turns out was her son, the Queen Mob's son. So now they're out of the games, and they're trying to just get revenge now. It's just pretty cool, and I like where it's going. It really does feel like Battle Angel Alita, just without robots. So it's pretty cool.
That one.
Yes. And then I also read
I don't know
X-Men.
Battle Angel. I don't know what he just said.
Also read the X-Men picking up after they fought the fake X-Men team. There's this giant creature who was a girl, was a twin, who got kind of absorbed in birth. It's the story's crazy. Magneto was fighting her in the Giant Sentinel. He kind of lost. The other X-Men squad got beat up.
Millennial zoom.
There are wild things happening with X-Men, but the most interesting thing was we all know how Beast kind of transitions to this kind of like the Dark Beast. He gets propositioned by this organization called 3K, who was headed by Cassandra Nova, and they infiltrated their hideout just to offer Beast to come with them because it's like, we know what you're capable of. Come over to Death Row Records.
Moshko, is this what it feels like when I talk about Beneath the Trees?
A little bit. You kind of lost me on the whole Dark Beast, and then what's the organization called?
3K. So
Dark
they're
Beast is
pretty
great.
much new.
Dark
But
Okay.
3K is actually the organization which earlier, if you guys remember, which you probably don't, when I was saying their newer mutants are popping up and they're having their X genes activate in their elder age instead of just in their
Like I'm still waiting for mine.
yeah, pretty much.
and your Hogwarts letter with your millennial
Oh, man.
zoom.
Ex-geriatric.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting.
Wrap it up.
I think that was the most interesting part, and they actually check in with Beast like, "Hey, is everything all right?" And he's like, "Yeah, everything's cool," but he doesn't really tell him what exactly just happened.
All right, you
So-
got to stop. You got to stop.
And I'm done.
You got to stop. You got to stop. You got to stop with the X-Men. What is it? You got one more?
No, that was it. I stopped the X-Men.
I'm so happy you're still reading it, but
I am. It was listen. The other ones that I stopped reading all got canceled.
there's a reason.
Yeah, there was a reason.
There's a
But
reason.
The two that I am still reading are still great.
Uh-huh.
Ultimate
For me,
X-Men.
for me.
I'm happy you're happy, buddy. I'm happy you're happy.
That should be our tagline of the
I'm
show.
happy you're happy.
I'm happy you're happy.
Now, there is one book that I have been dying to read, and I keep pushing it off, and I don't know why. And now it's on issue 2, and Moshko has read it, and I'm okay with spoilers, even though I'm not okay with spoilers. What's going on with Exquisite Corpses 2? Because, boy,
There's not a whole lot to spoil because it's kind of laid out in the first one, like people are going to die. What's really cool about this particular issue, you start, so the whole thing is like a battle royale. There's gladiators essentially for different really rich families. That's kind of the basis, and they all have to fight to gain superiority over everybody else. What's happening now is, since there's been a death or two in this town that they took over, the people of the town are discovering the dead bodies. And what's ending up happening is the other people, or the other, I hate saying gladiator because that's kind of a silly way to describe them, but they're avatars, I guess. They're the avatars for the families. They're starting to show up where these other people have died. It's terrible way for me. I think last time I had a hard time kind of explaining what was going on.
So read the book is what you're saying.
Yeah,
You're trying to do this without spoiling it, right?
Not really. I mean, it's got a very heavy Purge vibe, battle royale vibe.
I love battle royale.
It's like the one.
You would love battle royale.
Like one of the killers in this, like they're doing like a big time like Leatherface impression where.
Are they doing that with a lot of the characters? Are they all like allegories for other horror stand-ins?
I don't know if I've noticed that yet, but each one has a very distinct, killing style. This one happens to want to take your skin off and wear it, so that's always fun.
So it could be a really cool fighting game, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's what I got from issue 1. Yeah.
No, like as I was saying, there was this Dead by Dawn.
Dead by Dawn.
Daylight, something. Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight, the video game.
Yeah, I could see them like producing it in that type of style. That'd be kind of neat. But really cool dialogue. There's some, keep reading it.
Okay, I haven't read it at all, but all right. What were you going to say, Buzz? What did issue 1 make you feel?
Oh, I only made it to 1 because it was just way too much going on for me. You know what I mean? I'm just not. I've seen it before in movies and things like that. So maybe by issue 4 or 5 or 6, it's like something I haven't seen before. But
I never get tired of bracket fight shows and movies. Like Werewolf by Night has a very bracket fight vibe. You know what I mean? Where
this one was really dialed into
Squid
the
Games.
character that's on the cover. So I'm guessing each issue will be focused on one of those as opposed to everybody that was introduced in the first one. So
I really like the Walsh guy that draws it. He did the Frankenstein for Image, which was really good, and I love Tinian. But I don't know. There's something about this book that the title caught me for sure.
Yeah,
and the artist caught me, writer obviously. But I felt like it was work to try to remember everything that they were introducing, and I don't want to work when I'm reading the book. Battle Beast, I couldn't put down. That's the difference.
Yep, they're the opposites in how they approach the story.
Like we were saying earlier, if this is like a 6-book run, that's probably not enough.
I hope
if it hits 12, that'll be.
He's got carte blanche to do whatever he wants as a writer these days. So who knows what it's going to be?
Well, this could actually be a really good week this week as far as books that are coming out. We got Ultimate Spider-Man 18, we got Absolute Wonder Woman 9, we got Absolute Martian Manhunter, a lot of Superman stuff because obviously that's the thing. But we also got X-Men's coming out, so you got your Uncanny. Deadpool, which is going to be canceled soon. Actually, this is the last issue, so if you want to get the final issue of this run, that's this week. And we also got Predator vs. Spider-Man, number 3 is this week. Department of Truth 31 is this week. And a book that I've been looking forward to, I actually just found out about this, is the history, the new history of the DC Universe, that apparently it's a 4-issue run on a recap of all of the important events in DC leading up to now to get everyone ready, and it's told through the perspective of Barry.
Oh wow!
Nice.
So I love that. So that's coming out this week. So that's then we also got Spider-Man Wolverine number 2s this week. Anything else? Well, the last issue of Spider-Boy, Legacy of Vader, that Green Lantern Dark, which was really cool. Well, there's some other things, but nothing that I'm losing my mind over.
Ironheart. This week.
Oh yeah, the show drops.
Oh, the show drops this week.
Show drops. Also, season 3 of The Bear.
That's
not comics,
we know
but
that's got to do better. But I have heard good things about Ironheart. I've heard surprisingly good things about the story of Ironheart.
They're pushing it pretty hard. So
who
knows what it could be?
I feel like it's going to be heavily plot driven, and that's probably what it needs.
Could you imagine if it wasn't? What would it be if it wasn't? Like a talk show?
I mean, no,
like you kind of need it's not much of a show without a plot.
Right, but it could have just been like heavy spectacle driven, just all, she's in the suit flying
It's a
around.
Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah.
That was for you, Moshko. I'm trying to be even here. No? Okay, fine.
I
It
was-
is a
sorry.
success. It is a masterpiece, Deadpool Wolverine.
I was trying to find how many issues Exquisite Corpse is going to be, and I just got inundated with like bio cards on all the killers.
Well, that's it. That's the last time I
So
partnered
I'm
with
like,
you.
oh yeah, this makes sense why I'm having a hard time explaining it. And
I'm-
Buzz is 100% correct.
It's too much stuff going on.
I'm glad Buzz is correct. I'm glad you figured it out, but I am no longer Team Moshko. Just saying, just putting that out there. That
Damn.
Left him hanging.
I tried, man. I tried.
Wait, what were you saying?
And on that note, I'm going to do that thing. You can find the show at That Comic Podcast everywhere online. It's at That Comic Podcast to your social media choice, unless it's Twitter and or X. I guess it's just to say X at this point, but it's what are they called?
Who?
Tweets?
Messages?
The tweets? Are they?
I feel
X's?
like people still call X Twitters.
Well, of course.
Like,
Well, I do. I mean, but I'm just saying, like, do you send a tweet or do you send like
It's a message.
it's a message? You send a message?
It's a Twix.
That's
Status
So you send
update.
message? Why does everything have to be labeled? Why can't it just be what it is?
because
It's a
it was been in the social zeitgeist forever. Tweet it
Marketing
became
and
one. It
branding.
became a huge verb over the last how many? At least
Well,
decade.
Yeah.
just like the Star Wars universe, it is now dead. So it is now a message on X.
Well, anyway, go there. You can find us at That Comic Pod, That Comic Podcast everywhere else, but thatcomicpodcast.com. Still the best place to go. You'll find merch. You'll find Baby Huey's toy reviews. You'll find a bunch of fun things. But yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff in the works. Some fun ideas we're kicking around. So hopefully you'll see some changes soon. But let us know what you like, what's working, what's not working. We always want feedback. The more of that kind of stuff you give us, the more we can tailor this show to the knuckleheads that tune in each week. So please, by all means, let us know what you love, what you don't. You want more breakdowns, you want more reviews, whatever you need. You want more Buzz? We could just get a 24-hour feed of Buzz. All right. Well, once again, I'm Menti.
Amashko.
And I'm Features.
I'm Buzz.
And don't forget, hit up Buzz if you're looking for any kind of commissions, if you're looking for any kind of custom artwork. I mean, especially with, wow, dope. Yeah,
Wow.
see, look at that's what I'm saying. Hit the man up. All right, deuces.
Oh man.
All right, deuces in a second. Go ahead, show it again. Show it again. Oh wow. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, is that the sun?
Super dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the sun? Oh, that's cool.
Still working on it.
That's cool.
And if you guys made it this far on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Right, YouTube. Yeah, smash that like button, hit the bell. And let us know in the comments what your favorite book was this week. I don't know. Whatever thing gets you to comment. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Do that. What are you reading?
What do you suggest?
Comments and stuff, people. I'm out.
Excelsior.
That's that, huh?